Hey, great Friday morning. It is a great morning in the city of Brownsville. I can tell by the pictures that I'm seeing throughout there. Guys, it is my return day. I am actually at the airport and I'm getting ready to fly out. I'll be flying out this morning and then head flying out to the city of Monterrey. And just depends on what my schedule is in Monterrey, is what I'll be doing if I'm returning later on tonight or early in the morning. Early in the morning. I know that there was a little confusion in regards to starting this morning. Just traffic in Guadalajara and getting to the airport. And one of the things that I'm very grateful for was checking in to the Guadalajara airport, a piece of cake, a piece of cake. And we are scheduled to have John Barham, Barham on with us. So we'll see how that goes. There. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be interesting. Um, it's been a great week for me. Let me say that if there's one thing that I did learn is that a whole week away from home is is not awesome. It's just weird. I mean, if we're coming to a place like somewhere here in Mexico, I think 3 to 4 days max. I've been gone since Sunday, and I will say that it is just a little bit on the too much side. A little bit on the too much side. And with us now. Uh, hey, John, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Erasmo.
It's good to see you, Esther. We've been communicating back and forth to see when would be the best time opportunity for you to come on, and I'm glad you've made it this morning, Esther. How are things going in Brownsville, Texas?
Oh my, it's exciting up here, Erasmo. I know that you're enjoying Guadalajara and all the sights, and you are, I guess, missing a very exciting campaign, and a lot is going on. So, at any rate, I'm happy that you're having a nice time in Guadalajara, but thank you this morning for having me with you.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on. Let me say that one of the things that I think I'm going to say that we have a lot of mutual interest, and I think both of us have vested interest in politics, and not only politics, but only bringing awareness to individuals out there the importance of vetting candidates, making sure that you have a feel for the individual, because a lot of times we hear a lot of promises made, and then we see a lot of promises not being kept. Then we see a lot of candidates who unfortunately are not as transparent as we'd hope they would be. And what is it that you look for, John, in a candidate to support?
Interesting that you mentioned the word transparent because I think transparency is an issue in this campaign. Not only the transparency with the candidates, but I think that transparency also should be mentioned in terms of the city commission and the willingness of the city commission to come forward and to shed some light on a few things and answer a few questions that are bothering a few people like myself. And one of those issues that I am particularly concerned about, Erasmo, has to do with the proposed ordinance of non-discrimination. And we have multiple versions of documents that purport to be the ordinance of discrimination model, which the commission is following, is considering, maybe going to adopt, but we don't really know which is the true draft of what they're considering. So we've had problems like this in the past. You're aware of that. Remember the secret MOU? And nobody knew for years what the city commission had committed Brownsville to. with Tanasca and with the power plant that had never been built. Well, a lot of this needs to be answered as far as candidates are concerned. I think Roy de los Santos needs to come forward and answer some questions that have been raised. And I think you know what some of these questions would have to do. If he would come forward and say, yes, I was responsible for a DWI, and yes, I take credit for that, and I will be glad to pay a fine or do community service or whatever the penalty might be. So, yes, these are some of the issues that are coming forward and some of the issues that are concerning many people in Brownsville at this time.
Well, let me say, I actually shared my point of view in regards to, Mr. De Los Santos, as you mentioned, Mr. De Los Santos and the DWI. As someone that has gone through a DWI, being a person out there in public, one of the things that I opted to do was come forward and, make it known to anyone and everyone out there very, very publicly. And my concern with Mr. Santos' DWI, I understand that a lot of times when you're in the middle of a DWI, which is his case right now, I mean, we're still awaiting for him to go to trial, to be sentenced, and, to be given probation or whatever it is that he's going to get, unless he's expecting for it to be done away with if he is successful in this race. But I understand that in the middle of the process, attorneys will say, hey, don't say anything because, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. But with that said, that is advice that is usually given to someone who is not in the middle of a campaign. For someone who's in the middle of a campaign to do their best to try and hide something like that and not be forthcoming in regards to the over the top details of it is kind of upsetting. It's unfortunate because it gives you an insight in regards to what type of commissioner said candidate would be. Am I completely off base?
Yes, Erasmo, and I have to say, I admire you of your being forthright and how you've handled yourself in a similar situation. You came forward and you were quite honest, and I know about that, and that was something that I do admire. Now, looking at this in its totality, you, for example, showed good judgment in how you handled that situation. Roy has not shown that kind of judgment. He has not owned up. He has not answered the questions. And so, looking at it from the standpoint of judgment, do we want a person on the city commission whose judgment might be questionable? I don't think so. I think this could have been handled. It could have been disposed of long ago. And I think if Roy does not come forward, and then after the election, 5 days thereafter, there's a court date. And that could be very, very embarrassing for him. And it could be very, very embarrassing for the city commission if the city commission then has Roy as a colleague. And let me hasten to add this as well. It's been said that Jessica is running a campaign that is anti-gay. That is not true. Not once has Jessica attacked the LGBTQ community. And Jessica as am I, are concerned, one, about the judgmental factor that I just mentioned, but we're also concerned, and I should preface my remarks, Erasmo, that I am a Christian, and I have seen what has happened to people of faith in other locations, other locales, who have run afoul of NDOs or similar documents. Of course, I can mention here Jack Phillips. You're familiar with Jack Phillips, of course, and the masterpiece Cake Shop versus the Colorado Civil Rights Commission case. It actually went before the Supreme Court. All of that made Jack Phillips' life a hell. And there are other individuals who have been ensnared in NDOs and regulations of like form. So we want to know which is the correct version of the draft of the NDO. Is there really an NDO? People on the city commission are denying sometimes that there's even a draft or even a consideration of an NDO. So again, here we come back to transparency. And if Jessica wins, when she wins, she will be a voice for transparency. She will be a voice for reason, and she will be a voice for communication with her constituents. And all of this, which has been said about her being anti-gay, is totally false. Her campaign revolves around transparency and honesty, being forthright, and being conscientious.
Well, let me say that just this morning, I had a post that I placed in regards to Commissioner Ben Neese, and the reason that I posted because yesterday or earlier this morning, he stated in regards to the Casa de Nylon building, and you know how the price, you know how there were naysayers saying that the cost of it was sky high, and how it had not been placed to use, and how us naysayers were wrong. Because it is being used, it is being holed out, and going to be something or other. What I opted to say in response on my page to Mr. Commissioner Neese was that why is it that promises start to be, fulfilled at the time when individuals are seeking, are seeking re-election or election? To me, these are all just ploys and games that the city commission and those people in power do in order to make themselves look halfway decent to the voting community. My concern, John, is that in regards to Mr. Los Santos has been a part of the problem for many years. He has been on these boards and committees throughout the city of Brownsville at least for a couple of decades. My concern with that is if no solutions have been brought forth while they were out there serving the city of Brownsville, what are we to expect from a Commissioner de Los Santos who has nothing to show in regards to getting us out of the rut that we're in?
Oh, I very much agree with you in that regard. You have all kinds of people serving on boards and committees that are part of the governing of Brownsville. A lot of people on these boards and commissions we really don't know about. We know that Roy served on I believe it was the Board of Adjustment. And then, of course, he went over to the LBGTQ task force. And he is a member of the board of that group right now. Yes, there has to be vetting of these individuals. And to my mind, there has not been enough vetting of Roy, or Roy could have come forth and had been more forthright about some of what you're referring to. So again, is this characteristic of Roy? Who is the real Roy? I don't know who Roy de los Santos is. He seems like he could be a very nice guy when you encounter him. He does have a way about him of presenting himself to people, but then all of the other stuff that we hear about, that we know about, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up with Roy. I don't know if you're aware, Erasmo, you've been gone a few days, enjoying the beautiful city of Guadalajara, which I do love, but there surfaced a matter of a Roman, an old Roman symbol. Were you aware of that?
Yes, it's on his shoulder. The tattoo came to life.
Right. The SPQR tattoo. And that stands as a Latin abbreviation for the Senate and the Roman people. Now, that symbol has existed since the time of the Roman legions, and other people have appropriated that symbol. That symbol was appropriated in the 13th century, and then later in the 20th century, Mussolini's fascists appropriated that symbol. And Roy, I believe, on his left shoulder has the SPQR symbol. And regrettably, after what happened in 2017 in Charlottesville, Virginia, remember the violence and the riot that took place there. After that date, there were white supremacist groups that adopted the SPQR symbol as a symbol of their organizations and as a dog whistle like people of the same ilk. Now, Roy has a tattoo. I believe it's on his left shoulder showing SPQR. Now, I can't believe that Roy is a white supremacist. I can't believe that there are many people of any stripe down here in Brownsville who would adopt a white supremacy type of tattoo. So Roy has never come across with that. I wrote a little piece in Just the other day. I said, hey, Roy, I challenge you to a strip down. I'll take off my shirt and I'll show my tattoos if you'll show yours. I never got an answer to that challenge. Of course, Roy would have won the challenge because I do not have any tattoos. I don't come from a time when tattoos were part of the fashion. But at any rate, that needs to be answered. Also, it seems that Roy on his stomach has a tattoo of a six-pack. And if I were a police officer, and if I were arresting someone who I felt was responsible for driving while intoxicated, and then taking that person to the station and getting him into his jail clothes, and if I saw a six-pack on someone's stomach, I would think, well, this fellow is a real drinker. So that has not been answered either. So what we're saying is, will the real Roy stand up? Will the real Roy let us know who he actually is? And I hope we've got, what is it? Saturday is the last day of the voting in the early voting time. And then the day of election will be the 19th. So I'm hoping before the 19th that Roy will come forward and will really show us who he is, and will answer some of these questions, which shouldn't be so hard to answer.
let me let me go into the well. I'll start with the vetting part. Royce de los Santos has not been vetted. One of the things that I was most surprised and concerned with was, again, I went through the process. I went through the DWI thing. When I went through my DWI, I was on the front page of the Brownsville Herald every other day for 3 months. On the front page of the Brownsville Herald every other day for 3 months. When Channel 4 ran like 6 to 7 different stories on Erasmo and the DWI, Channel 23 probably ran 10 or 12. We have yet to hear one word from local media in regards to Mr. De Los Santos DWI. I mean, he is a candidate to be the next city commissioner of the city of Brownsville. And as of yet, not one single news station has come and asked him the questions. Not one single news station, not one single media entity has posted anything on their social media sites or on their wonky, good for nothing newspaper in regards to Mr. De Los Santos and his case. Why is it that it is good for one and not good for the other? All candidates, all individuals who are either are in office or are seeking position should be vetted and should be asked the question in regards to DWI. Now, take into consideration, it was my first Class B misdemeanor, which again, I dealt with, I went through. This is Mr. De Los Santos' second. So you start to see that there's this trend there because, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. One time, I think hey, well, let's maybe it's whatever. And I'm not going to make excuses for it. So the vetting process is off. There is there is no local media that is actually going to tackle the real hard questions for us. Going into the tattoo, and you could give your opinion on that in a bit. Going back into tattoos, again, I agree with you. I don't think that Mr. De Los Santos placed the tattoo in a time where it was considered a racist symbol. But with that said, we all have the option. I have tattoos, and I'll show my tattoos any day to anyone that wants to see them. But with that said, I think that if I was going to seek public office, or even if I was going to seek public office, if I had a tattoo on me that implied something racist or had been adopted by a racist group, I would do everything in my power to remove, to cover up, or to modify in order to say I am not part of this group. So what is your take on local media and the vetting process?
Oh, my take on the local media. Well, first of all, I would say the Brownsville Herald is not what it used to be decades ago. And I remember very well, Erasmo, that the going over that you received, and it was Erasmo this, Erasmo that. It was constant. It was unrelenting. And we compare that with Roy. Is Roy untouchable? Why is he untouchable? Is there some sort of dark influence which makes him untouchable? I have not read anything in the Brownsville Herald that mentions Roy in this context, anything that is unfavorable. That's wrong. That's wrong. Is our media controlled? I think they are. I think they are to a certain extent. And I sympathize with you, Erasmo, and the way you were treated. You communicated accurately, and you communicated fairly, and yet you ended up in that situation. Now, again, I'm going to use this word, transparency. There is not enough transparency in Brownsville. And this extends into the media. Are the people who are sitting on the commission and the person who is filling the mayor's seat, did they have that kind of influence? I'm beginning to think so. And I think that if that's true, then we need people in Brownsville who are willing to stand up and fight against that kind of influence. And I think you should be yourself further vindicated because you're an honest man and you came forward, unlike this candidate who is facing Jessica. So, again, we have here, and I am of the opinion that the people on the city commission know that if Jessica is filling one of those seats on the city commission, she's not going to keep her mouth shut. Jessica is straightforward, and she will say what she sees and what she thinks and what she thinks about issues, what is fair, what is not fair, what is transparent, what is not transparent. And that's why I am backing her. And if I were you, after what you have been through, and I am very sorry for what happened in your case, but if we had had a Jessica Puente Bradshaw on the city commission, we would have had another voice standing up in the community, saying what's right and saying it very well and getting right to the point. So, Erasmo, that's where I stand, and that's why I'm supporting Jessica. I'm hoping, I'm praying that there's going to be a good turnout for her, and by the 19th, we're going to be celebrating her victory. I hope you're going to be coming back from Guadalajara in time to celebrate with us, but I know you've been down there going to the Museo Orozco and to the Ballet Folklorico and to Tlaquepaque and all of the wonderful things to do in Guadalajara. But come back to Brownsville and spend some time with us. Come back. I'd love to spend some time with you myself.
Let me say that one of the things that I appreciate about Jessica is that she has not been a part of the problem, but is offering solutions. And I think that's one of the reasons why I personally, I live in District 3, and I am going to go out there and vote for Jessica Puente Bradshaw for Brownsville City Commissioner in Place 3, because she is not a part of that corrupt political machine that has kept Brownsville stagnant for far too long. We need an actual voice on the city commission who is going to speak for us, who is going to share our concerns, who has not been a part of the problem, who is not in the pocket of special interest, and who is a no favorite of the current city mayor and the city commission. Someone who is they will be accountable to the people of the city of Brownsville and not to vendors, not to advertisers, not to individuals who constantly put money in the pockets of politicians. So I'm praying that Jessica Puente is successful. I will be back in time to vote. My family will be out there voting, and I make sure that everyone that I know in District 3 comes out and votes, and hopefully opts to vote the right way. With that said, folks, if anyone out there has family or friends that live in District 3, please make sure that they go out and vote. And I don't mean call them. I don't mean go talk to them. I mean, literally, you have to take your relatives, your friends from District 3, take them out to vote. It is one of the most important races for the city of Brownsville that I have seen at least the past 12 years. So please, please, please. John, any last words, my man?
Yes, I appreciate that you're going to come back and vote, and I appreciate that you're going to bring your family's votes with you. And I don't live in District 3, I live in District 4, so I won't be able to vote like you will. But you're right, there has been a cabal, a cadre of individuals who think that they have the right to control Brownsville, and a group that thinks it does not have to be accountable in communicating with the constituents. And let's remember this too. This is an election that's going to probably go down to the wire, and every vote counts. And I'm saddened often when I look at election results and the percentage of voters who actually voted. It's very, very low. In the last election, it was something over 5%. So often what happens, and you know this, that people may be running for the wrong reasons. They pass out enough chicken, barbecued chicken, they pass out enough six packs. And before you know it, they have a few hundred votes. And that can get them in powerful positions. And these are people that we need to watch out for. And yes, I commend you for coming back to vote, and I commend you for getting your family and friends out to vote. We need to break this hold which a few people have on our city.
Well, thank you again, John, for being on. Guys, everyone out there, Hector, thank you so much for taking people out to vote. Hector is a workhorse. Hector is on his second trip to encourage individuals out there to vote for Jessica. Thank you, Hector. God bless you, my man. I love you, Baba. And guys, everyone out there, please, take note of what Hector is doing and go out there and do the same. Please make sure all family and friends that live in District 3, District 4, they actually come out and vote, guys. Again, I have not seen a more important election for the city of Brownsville, especially in the position that we are in with different entities wanting to come to Brownsville, such as SpaceX and such as other commerce out there. Guys, we need to have someone in there in the inside who's actually going to be transparent, forthcoming, and communicate with the people. Guys, please, can't stress enough, please go out and exercise your right to vote. I will hopefully be back in town to vote late tonight. If not, I will be voting before election day or on election day. Guys, I will be back at the studio tonight at 9 p.m. So it will be a lot clearer picture and a lot better sound. So tonight at 9 p.m. we will address, hopefully, Commissioner Beniz responds to our response to his naysayer comment. And I hope if he is willing, I hope he would come on with us tonight or tomorrow morning or Monday. And let's have open discussion in regards to his saying that we are naysayers. Guys, have a great day. Bless, guys. Stay safe. Tonight, full show at 9 p.m. Guys, be good to each other. And please continue to be good to me. God bless. Thank you, John.
Okay, thank you, Erasmo, and I look forward to your coming back. Maybe we can sit down and have a very nice discussion about Guadalajara.
That sounds great. Let me know. I'm available, my man. God bless. Take care. And
okay, God bless you.
9 p.m.
Okay, good night.